Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we've had a problem.
Hey there folks, and welcome to my second rambling for this Friday, and funnily enough, my second beer. There's a bit of a novelty, you don't get to see me have my second beer most of the time. This second rambling is actually a delayed reaction to something that I felt was really sad that happened in the gaming industry. I think it was probably about a month or so ago now, wasn't it? Maybe a little bit longer. But it was the closure of Lionhead Studios, who make the Fable franchise, which I was absolutely gutted when I heard that news. And it wasn't even, as far as I'm concerned, it wasn't even expected, because they were in the middle of doing the beta and what have you testing for the Fable Legends or whatever it was called. That was the MMO sort of Fables world that they were building. So it was all kind of like, what the hell? So everybody who'd created all these things and they were testing it out and stuff were just told it'll only be up for another few weeks, and then we're closing the studio down, and that's that. And I was just like, what on earth are they doing? That studio has, A, it's been around for so long, and B, it's created one of the best world universes that I say universe, it was it was all based in Albion, but it had one of the richest vibes and feels and unique atmospheres that I've ever played in an RPG. RPGs can feel very, very, very similar. They can either be really dark with a lot of blood flying around in them, or they can be more light-hearted and lots of sort of frilly things going on and girls running around, and all of which is wonderful. But this particular universe, this particular world that they'd created, it just had a special vibe to it, and it had a special kind of, it was almost like a child's world with semi-adult themes in them. So, there was all sorts of buy this ring to get married, to have sex, to have, and then you picked up condoms, and there's all sorts of bizarre things going on. But it was the character as well, and everybody who played characters in them played them so well. And for me, it was one of the few franchises of RPG where they used English or British accents, and it makes the world a difference to me. And I love Americans, so please don't hate me for saying that I don't like American accents in games. I do. I love them in games, and I love them in specific types of games. But when it comes to we're talking about a world called Albion, which is Britain effectively. That's where it is. So you need to really have characters with British accents, and they did that, and they gave it all. The music was sublime. I forget who did it, but absolutely beautiful music, beautiful world, so rich, so lovely to spend time in. And I don't know what happened at Microsoft, but at some point, some complete and utter turd sat in a meeting and said, do you know what the world needs? The world needs a Fable MMO. No, it doesn't. There wasn't one person in this world that I'm aware of that wanted a Fable MMO. Not one. So at some point through that beta test, they've realised that the 25 people who actually signed up to do it wasn't enough to make sales happen. And then they've just cut it dry. They just cut it loose. And not only did they cut the game loose, they cut the entire studio loose, and all the staff lost their jobs. I mean, and you can, without any shadow of a doubt, and I'll hold my hands up if somebody can tell me that this isn't true, but I get the impression that a suit at Microsoft pushed them to make an MMO, and nobody wanted it. What everybody wanted was Fable bloody 4. If they'd made Fable 4 they would, and stuck a beta out for it, they would have got inundated with people wanting to play that game. But instead, we've not only lost a game that we might have tried. I mean, I played the alpha, and I got into a bit of trouble actually because I put the footage up and I didn't realise about it. There was massive letters on the screen saying "Don't put this up." You're not allowed to show it on YouTube. And I just went bang, 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 go into the game, and they were kind enough to message me and tell me to take it down. Otherwise, I'd get standing or whatever, and I was like really apologetic, and I deleted it straight away. So I played the beta for a couple of hours, and I must say, I mean, it looked fantastic, but I just thought, no, nobody's going to want to do this. Nobody's going to want to do this at all. It was just, I could just see it had a problem. I knew it was going to be a flop one way or the other, but I didn't expect that kind of nightmare to come out the back end of it, which is it's just really, really, really sad. I don't like hearing about developers closing down at the best of times. I think it's horrible. I understand why they do. I understand why small developers struggle. I love the fact that well, both platforms, to be fair to them, are now doing a lot of indie dev stuff, and you know, and smaller developers can get their stuff on to the consoles without having to spend a gazillion pounds in publishing fees. So there's loads of things happening to help developers, but you can't take something as something as just beautiful and great as a world like Fable and just throw it down the toilet. You can't. Why would you do that? I don't get it. Like, somebody at Microsoft, if they were answering me right now, would probably throw the figures of sales at me for Fable 3 or something. Because I know Fable 3, I've loved all the Fable games, but I think I remember something from a while back where they said, oh, Fable 3 didn't make anywhere near what we wanted it to for, you know. But if you actually look at the lifetime sales of Fable 3, I bet you they're all right. I bet you're talking about millions of copies. I don't think you're talking about, 100 copies somewhere. So it baffles my brain. And when you're talking about somebody like Microsoft, who basically have a bottomless chest of money, well, they do. I mean, I know that like most companies, they'll siphon it into, there's some money for Xbox, there's some money for Windows, there's some money for blah. But they have a bottomless pit of money. They're so fecking rich. They could have afforded to keep that running and say, you know what, drop that whole fucking thing we were doing. Let's do something new. I'll tell you who just did it. Was God's sake, I'm going to forget the name now. Well, the Overwatch team. I was reading an article the other day where they'd made a completely different game. And they'd spent ages on it. And it was just awful. The whole team, who'd come from previous games that were great, just made a stinker. And it was like, shit, we've made a right stinker here. And they were... Whatever happened in that particular company, they turned around and said, right, don't worry about it. Back to the drawing board. Come up with a brand new concept. Give us something new. And Overwatch has come out. And I'm not saying Overwatch is great, bad, or indifferent. I haven't played it. I don't know. I've watched some footage of it, and for me, it just looks like another sort of first-person type thing. But it looks fun enough, and they were given the opportunity to create something new. And that was with a brand new franchise. So when you've got a franchise that's so heavily ingrained in RPG players' minds, like Fable, and such a beautiful world, beautiful music, brilliant actors that have always been part of it, why dump it? I don't understand. I just don't understand it. I mean, it could be they haven't dumped Fable and they've just dumped Lionhead, and maybe we'll see Fable, fly out of another studio at some point. But it seems odd to me that you would dump Lionhead Studios. I don't get it. Honestly, I mean, I was so... I mean, I actually... I tweeted Phil Spencer, as if he's ever going to look at my tweet, but I tweeted Phil Spencer and said, look, for the love of God, I'm begging you, don't shut this studio down. Do something. I never heard back. But, it's such a shame. Such a shame. But this is a massive delayed reaction, as I say, because I never quite got around to having a little, vlog about it like I am doing now. And it dawned on me the other night. I thought, why haven't I done a vlog on that? So yeah, really, really sad. I hope... I did see that Sony had... I saw tweets flying up about job... Well, they're sort of job fairs, I think. But basically telling the Lionhead Studios staff, we're having an open day, come and see us. We're looking for developers and all that malarkey. So it was nice to see Sony sort of trying to grab some of the devs. I'm not saying all of them would have got jobs, but it was nice to see them at least sort of throwing something out there. I hope either Microsoft decide to do something with the Fable universe, or by disbanding Lionhead, they no longer hold the rights to the Fable universe, and someone else can use it. You know, maybe Peter Molyneux, who started the whole thing. I think it's Peter Molyneux, got his name right. He left Lionhead quite some time ago, but he's the guy that built the studio and created the first one, certainly, and I think the second one. Maybe he's got the rights back to it because they've disbanded it or not, but I suspect Microsoft hold the universe to that. So I hope they either do something with it in the future with another one of their studios, but keep, hopefully grab the vibe that was there before, or that the universe is open for someone else to do it. Because I tell you what, if that game hit PS4, there would be a shit ton of sales for it. I mean, without any shadow of a doubt. The PlayStation players love RPGs. I'm not saying all of them, but a shit ton of them do. So if that universe ever hit the PlayStation, I can guarantee you there would be a shit ton of sales for that game. So a little bit of me hopes that the universe comes up for grabs, so that another studio can make it or Sony can grab it. But at the very least, I hope Microsoft do something with it in the future. But my hat off to all the Lionhead staff who've worked on any of those games. I love them. I adore them. I love the worlds, the characters, the gameplay, everything about them. I just loved them. And I know people had their favourite and their non-favourite and so on. I don't think anyone ever hated any of the games. I personally have the complete opposite love of those games to just about everyone else. I love them 3-2-1 because that's the order I played them in, because I got into the franchise quite late. But there you are. I just wanted to have a little sad rambling about Lionhead Studios vanishing. It's such a shame. I hope, as I say, that somehow we get that universe back someday. It's been an honour and a privilege crying in my soup to you this Friday. Well, crying in my beer as it happens. You guys take it easy and I'll see you soon. Bye.